Chapter 2 of Bloody Beaches, The Marines at Peleliu by Gordon D. Gale. Sidebars. The divisions and their commanders. The Peleliu operation was to be conducted by two divisions, one Marine and one Army. In the Pacific area since mid-1942, the 1st Marine Division was a veteran, combat-tested organization which launched the first offensive landing in the Pacific War when it attacked Guadalcanal on 7 August 1942. After a period in Australia of rest, recuperation, and training of newly joined Marines, the division made its second amphibious assault on 26 December 1943 at Cape Gloucester on New Britain Island. When the division landed on Peleliu, its regiments, 1st, 5th, and 7th Marines, all infantry, and 11th Marines, artillery, contained officers and enlisted Marine veterans of both landings as well as new troops. Before World War II ended, the 1st Division was to participate in one last battle, the landing on Okinawa. Major General William H. Rupertus, the 1st Division commander, had been with the division since early 1942. As a brigadier general, he was the assistant division commander to Major General Alexander A. Vandergrift during the Guadalcanal campaign. He took command of the division for the Cape Gloucester operation. General Rupertus was commissioned in 1913 and served as commander of a Marine ships detachment in World War I. During subsequent years, he was assigned duty in Haiti and China. Following the Peleliu campaign, he was named Commandant of the Marine Corps Schools in Quantico. General Rupertus died of a heart attack on 25 March 1945 while still on active duty. The Army's 81st Infantry Division, the Wildcats, was formed in August 1917 at Camp Jackson, South Carolina. It saw action in France at the Meuse-Argonne in World War I and was deactivated following the end of the war. The division was reactivated in June 1942. It went to several Pacific training bases before its first combat assignment, the landing on Ongaur. After securing Ongaur, it relieved units of the 1st Marine Division on Peleliu. When Peleliu was secured, the Wildcats began training for Operation Olympic, the assault on Japan proper. The Japanese surrendered unconditionally after suffering 2 atomic bomb attacks. As a result, instead of invading Japan, the 81st occupied it. On 10 January, the 81st Infantry Division was once more deactivated. Major General Paul J. Mueller, U.S. Army, the commander of the 81st Division, was a graduate of the famous West Point class of 1915. He commanded an infantry battalion in France in World War I, and during the interwar period he had a succession of assignments to infantry commands, staff billets, and schools. In August 1941, he assumed command of the 81st Infantry Division at Fort Rucker, Alabama, and moved his division during its training period successfully from Florida to Tennessee to California before its commitment to the Battle of Ongaur and Peleliu. General Mueller served on active duty until 1954, when he retired. He died in 1964. The changing nature of Japanese tactics. Japan launched its December 1941 surprise attacks in the expectation that its forces could quickly seize a forward line of Pacific and Asian empire. Thereafter, it expected to defend these territories stubbornly enough to tire and bleed the Allies and then to negotiate a recognition of Japanese hegemony. This strategic concept was synchronized with the fanatic Japanese spirit of Bushido. Faith in their army's moral superiority over lesser races led the Japanese to expect 19th century Banzai tactics to lead invariably to success. Expectations and experience meshed until their 1942 encounters with the Allies, particularly with Americans in the Solomons. Thereafter, it took several campaigns to internalize the lessons of defeat by modern infantry weapons in the hands of the determined Allies. To Americans, these Japanese misconceptions were alarming but cost-effective. It was easier and less costly to mow down Banzai attacks than to dig stubborn defenders out of fortified positions. By spring of 1944, the lessons had permeated to the highest levels of Japan's Army command. When General Hideki Tojo instructed General Inoue to defend the Palaus deliberately and conservatively, he was bringing Japanese tactics into support of Japanese strategy. Henceforth, Japanese soldiers would dig in and hunker down to make their final defenses as costly as possible to the attacking Americans. Naval gunfire support for Peleliu. In their earlier operations, especially at Guadalcanal, the primary experience of 1st Division Marines with naval gunfire was at the receiving end. On New Britain, the character and disposition of Japanese defenses did not call for extensive pre-landing fire support, nor did subsequent operations ashore. The naval gunfire to which the Guadalcanal veterans were exposed frequently and heavily damaged planes and installations ashore. Its effect upon dug-in Marines was frightening and sobering, but rarely destructive. During the planning for Peleliu, the division staff initially had no trained naval gunfire (NGF) planner. When one arrived, he was hampered by the cumbersome communications link back to higher headquarters, Lieutenant General Holland M. Smith's Fleet Marine Force Pacific, FMF PAC, in Honolulu, which would provide the essential targeting information for the division's NGF plan. FMF PAC also would plan and allocate the available gunfire resources to the targets deemed important by the division staff's planners. The preoccupation of FMF PAC with the ongoing Marianas campaigns, as well as illness on the staff of Rear Admiral Jesse B. Oldendorf, Commander, Naval Gunfire Support Group, further limited and constrained the preparations. Heavy ammunition expenditures in the Marianas reduced ammunition availability for Peleliu. Surprisingly, during the delivery of U.S. preparatory fires, there was no Japanese response. This prompted Oldendorf to report all known targets destroyed and to cancel preparatory fires scheduled for D+3. An unintentional benefit of this uncoordinated change in naval gunfire plan may have resulted in there being more shells available for post-landing NGF support. But the costliest effect of inadequate NGF was that the flanking positions north and south of the landing beaches were not taken out. The selection of naval gunfire targets could certainly have been done with more careful attention. Colonel Lewis B. Puller, the 1st Marines commander, had specifically asked for the destruction of the positions dominating his landing on the division left flanks. Failure to do so was paid for in blood, courage, and time during the critical battle for the point. Subsequent to D-Day, there were numerous instances of well-called and delivered naval gunfire support. Night illumination during the night of 15 to 16 September, the destruction of 2 major blockhouses earlier reported destroyed, and effective support of the Niasabus landing toward the end of the battle. End of Chapter 2.